Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as BunniPhish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Friday, the 4th of October, 2019, and this is episode 51. How was your week? Mine was good. I taught a class at Joanne on Monday, and my students were the best kind of students, the kinds who were really enthusiastic and didn't get overly frustrated when they didn't know what they were doing. So it was really lovely. And then the rest of the week was kind of just a week, nothing big to report. I have started doing Vlogtober, so you can check in with me every day during the month. And thank you so much for those of you who have been commenting and checking in and answering my daughter's questions and things like that. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun, and my children really enjoy doing it too. So hopefully you enjoy watching it. Other administrative things. The ornament swap has about 10 days left to sign up if you're interested in that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've had a couple new signups this week, so that's awesome. And I am contemplating whether or not I'm just going to send everybody an ornament. I mean, it's still not that big of a pool of people, so that wouldn't be too crazy, right? I just really like sending things out. Don't judge me. I mean, judge me if you want to, but whatever. So, pretty excited about the ornament swap. And is that everything? Oh, I wanted to give you a reminder that in November, the finish or frog knit along starts. So November 1st, anything that you frog counts for one entry. Anything that you finish from before November 1st counts as two entries. And anything that you start and finish in that knit along date or time frame from November 1st to December 31st counts as one entry. So if you want to front load your needles, go right ahead. That's totally acceptable. I suppose instead of continually looking down on this knitting, I should just show you what got worked on this week. I don't have anything finished this week, but that's fine because I've been finishing a lot of stuff. So first, I'll show you what I'm working on. This is the Fruit Loop sock. So I was up here last week, finished the cuff, started the leg. I am doing the Fruit Loop pattern, which is a free pattern on Knitty. Doing that on the front, and I am doing a graduating ribbing on the back. It starts at the top as 3x2, and then for an inch and a half maybe, it is 2x2, and I'm about to decrease it down to a 2x1, and that covers the calf muscle area, all of those decreases. And then shortly after I do the decrease down to 2x1 rib, I will be changing my needle size. So this is knit on a US size 2 because I'm lazy, and knee highs take a really long time if you knit them all on a US size 0, which is what I'll be knitting the foot on. So I'm going to knit the leg on a 2, the upper leg on a 2, the lower leg on a 1, and then switch to a 0 for the heel. It's what I did for the socks that I made for this recipient last year, so hopefully they fit her well. And the fabric is, looser, of course, than if you're knitting on a smaller gauge needle, but it's at the calf, and she's a runner, so I want to make sure it can fit. Also, she lives in Florida, so she doesn't need like super, super bulletproof, warm, dense socks. But this is the progress I've made today, because since I'm vlogging, I want to be able to show people my daily progress. I really enjoy seeing not how much, but what other people are working on. during their vlog days, vlog challenges. So yeah, that's what that little stitch marker is for. This is how much I've done this morning. I did that mostly while editing yesterday's vlog, which is live now. So I don't know why I'm telling you this for just cause. Next up, I kind of have a finish, but it's not really a finish because it's only half a pair of socks. I finished the first Pomatum of Sock. So this is where I was last week, and it's a cuff down pattern. It's beautiful. It's by Cookie A. The yarn is Dream in Color in the BFL sock, and it doesn't have a colorway on it. So it's 85% blue-faced Leicester, 15% nylon. It's gorgeous, and I heavily modified this pattern. So it's a free pattern on Knitty, or you can pay for it as part of a download, and the download has several sizes. Well, I did the pattern on Knitty, which is a 72 stitch sock, which is a lot of stitches for me, for a sock. So I did the leg as written completely. And then because it's fine, it's all ripping up here, but then to accommodate the foot, which will be my sister's foot, which is smaller than mine, when I did the heel flap and heel turn to pattern, but then I decreased my sole stitches down to 25 stitches, so that it was, I think that made it a 30 stitch sock, or a 60 stitch sock all the way around. And then I just moved a couple stitches from either side to the back of to the sole of the foot when I started doing toe decreases, and it turned out pretty well. Keep in mind her foot is slightly smaller than mine, so that length will be better on her foot. This will actually hit her heel. And plus it hasn't been blocked, which of course makes it a little bit longer. But yeah, it makes the fit around the foot really, really nice. That is such beautiful stitch definition. It is October. Let's continue on with the sock whips. So I have done just a little bit of work this week on the, I guess it's not that small amount of work, this much, on the Nightingale socks, because I finished Pomatum, so I had to do the toe on there, and I started the toe on my mini skein sock. So I don't know where I was last week. Had I added the main color onto the sock? I feel like I hadn't, but I didn't put in a stitch marker. This is how much I did yesterday on this sock. So no, that's not for today. So yeah, this will be finished next week, and I have to figure out today if I am going to cast on the second one of these and try to get through the cuff and the heel today, because we're going to the movies tomorrow for my daughter's birthday. She turns 9, and after much deliberation about what she wanted to do for her birthday, did she want to do a party? Did she want to go to a community pool? Did she want to, who knows? She wants to go see Abominable. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And I don't have an appropriate project for the movie theater. So I either need to work on this sock, not this particular sock, but start the second sock today, or I need to start the first sock, or I need to start the unicorn sock, which uses this same yarn as the body. I haven't decided what color I want to use as the cuffs. Do I want to use these colors in the cuffs? I don't know. but I have to figure that out because I also need something to carry around to knit at work. I guess I could take the Fruit Loops to work since I am able to look at it and it is a pretty easy pattern. Okay, I'll take Fruit Loop to work, but I do have to cast on a sock for tomorrow. So, I didn't realize I had done so much this week. That's exciting. I guess that makes sense because I didn't make any progress on it between the podcast 2 weeks ago and last week. So I'm getting close. I only have about a little more than half of this color block left, and then a purple color block and a pink color block. But I think the pink color block is just going to be the ribbing at the top, which will be, what is this called? Corrugated ribbing, maybe? So it'll be 1 by 1 trading the colors. Yeah. So I think that's what the pink is going to be. So I really only have a block and a half left of like charted color work. Hey, I'm excited. I could finish the Nightingale socks by the 15th, which is my goal. I have another goal, another project that I would like to finish by the 15th also, which is a new cast on from last week. This is the Neon Ski Bonnet. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I do not remember who it is by. I do remember that it is not an English or American designer. So here it is. I am knitting it on the recommended needle size, which is a US size 7. And the way this hat is constructed is there's a ear flap band that goes around, and that's where you start. So that's where I'm at. And then pick up stitches along the side to knit the crown, and then I think there's some garter stitch around like the base of the hat. I don't know because I only kind of skimmed ahead. I don't read ahead in patterns. But that is how far I am, and this is, it doubled in length yesterday. I think I am about halfway through the first half of the front band, just under halfway through. So I really, really like this. And the yarn that I'm using is, it was a Knit Picks Reserve yarn. Put the label in here. This cable is really, really beautiful. And this pattern has been in my queue forever. So it's time. It's time to make it. So I want that finished by the 15th also, which means I have 11 days to work on that. I also have the owl blanket. So as predicted last week, I finished that whole skein of the James C. Brett Marble Chunky. That's finished. So then I picked up a skein of the Marble Chunky Sparkle. It's got shinies in it, you can kind of see that. And that is what I am using to make the borders around the owls. So I have the owl motifs, and then I am squaring them off with the black and white, and this owl is finished. So it's got the white around the eyes, it's got buttons for eyes, it's got a little beak, and the blanket is going to be, well, the Marble Chunky made 16 motifs. So I am making the blanket 4x4, which is not giant, and then either myself or my sister will crochet a border around it just to make it throw blanket sized, not baby blanket sized, because you know this isn't giant. It's not big enough for a grown-up human. It's almost wide enough, but it's definitely not long enough. So I have 5 of the motifs into squares. I have 1 owl with eyes and beak, 1 owl with eyes. I have enough of the white circles to attach to what I have in this blanket so far, because I started putting the blanket together. And then I got home and I was like, I should add the eyes and the beaks to what I already have before I start adding all of the motifs on, because trying to add those on and having to manage this whole blanket would be a lot. So going forward, I'm going to attach the eyes and the beaks before I do the border around a square to add the owl into the blanket. So the progress on this is going really well. Should be easy to finish by the end of the month. I have not worked on any spinning this week, even though it was a goal. That's a fail. It's fine. I will really, really try to get back to it this week. I'm watching vlogs, and my rule was at one point in time that I had to spin while watching vlogs. So I'll try to do that today a little bit, at least for 15 minutes a day, right? Get back into it. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so last up, I am reading 3 books this week. Also, I finished The Children of Blood and Bone, and it was really, really great. And I took the quiz because you have to take the quiz if you read the book, right? So I'll put in my result here. I had been reading actually for a few weeks, Rethinking Normal, which is a memoir by a transgendered young woman. She's in her 20s, I think, or she was in her 20s when she wrote the memoir. So I'm reading that, but I just read another memoir by a transgendered teen. So I'm kind of, actually I just read 2 back to back before this. So I'm kind of, I'm not over it, but I'm not as like into reading that content at this minute. I'm still reading it. When I pick it up, I enjoy it. It's just not the thing I want to pick up all the time. So I'm reading that, and that'll probably take me another several weeks to finish, even though it's not a really long book. I started Hello Cruel World, which is also kind of a memoir by a much older transgendered person. But there is, the subtitle is 101 Suicide Alternatives for Freaks, something else and something else. So I picked it up because last month was Suicide Awareness Month, and I'm really enjoying that. So that one's also pretty short, and the first part of the book is kind of an explanation about being transgendered, and the author's not so much experiences, just, I don't know, kind of a, it's okay if you're different, we're all different sort of feel. So I read through all of that, and now I'm in the section that's 101 alternatives. So it's pretty interesting, really quick read, really enjoying that. That will likely be finished by the next time I podcast. And then 2 nights ago, I started reading An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole, which is the first book in a trilogy. I've read the other 2 books. The characters are connected through the books, but it focuses on a different main character in every book, so it's okay that I read the other 2 first. I'm not very far in that, like maybe 20 pages, maybe, but it's really good so far, as all of Alyssa Cole's stuff is. Yeah. I'm ready to start another book. Do I need to be reading 4 books at once? Probably not. Am I going to be reading 4 books at once later today? Seems pretty likely. I really want to start reading the book of steampunk short stories. So that seems like it's going to come up pretty quickly. Okay, I know this podcast is really short, but that's how it tends to be during months when I record vlogs. There's a lot of video content, just not long podcasts. So if you're interested in more content and you're not watching the vlogs, I do have a playlist for them so that you can just kind of binge watch them. Otherwise, I hope that you'll be okay with having shorter episodes this month. Be sure to like this video, um, comment down below on anything I've talked about, any questions you have, any input you have on anything. And if you have not subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go check out my Patreon. If you haven't been there yet, I got a new patron in the past week, and that is super, super exciting. I'm actually going to make the postcards for Patreon patrons later today, I think. Maybe over the weekend. Definitely by Monday if I don't get to it before then, because there's no school on Monday. So the kids and I will be going to the library and I'll be getting crafty at some point. But yeah, those postcards are going to be made very, very soon and I'm really excited. The postcards for November, not for October. I already sent out the October postcards. But I like to have them done before the month that starts so that I can send them out early, because over the summer I did not do that, and so postcards got sent out late, and that makes me anxious, and that's not fair to people who are patrons. Patrons? Patrons of Patreon? I don't know. Okay, I'm rambling now. There's your extra content for the week. I'll see you next week. Bye.